checkers and... Just gasp immediately. Hello, checkers and pleasers alike. How are we doing today? Welcome to our show, Checkpoint, the show where we discuss and discern the current events of our most recent episode of Check Please. Thank you for the gasp, Riken. Today we are discussing Check Please, episode 47. Woo! I would love to welcome our members today. I am Keni, your fortunate host. Foaly as my co-host, hungry for fleshed out answers.
Is that joke getting old yet, or what? Hello, everyone.
I don't know. Rock Hard Holy Man hasn't gotten old for me. Xeno, our Swamp Witch Swarm Monger.
Me. I'm here.
Yeah, that way. Beardy, our beloved Daddy DM. Ow!
Hey, everybody.
Wow.
It's time to drink.
Someone's had their caffeine today.
I
God.
didn't. I ate ramen.
Ramen is what does it. It's like spinach to Popeye. I gotcha.
Yeah. I also had ramen. That's fun.
Oh my god, I was feeling nostalgic and wanted like the chicken flavor ramen because I'm a fucking 5-year-old. And I was like, I want chicken noodle soup ramen.
Chicken noodle soup ramen.
Chicken noodle soup ramen. Yes.
The burning question I have for you, Xeno, before we kick this off, is one I was asking you right before we started. What percentage now of Vera's backstory do we have?
I'd say we have at least 75%.
Yeah.
75% of Vera's backstory.
Yeah, pretty much you know everything other than... you know the important part of her backstory, and then there's the other part, which is her upbringing, like, in general.
But we got the broad strokes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, cool. We'll get into how that feels, but we should start things off with, oh my god, the body horror and the goddamn bug zombies and just ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
So
what? Ew.
It's nasty. So I believe this is all Beardy's brainchild for these bug zombies.
Yeah.
So we have you to blame, not Xeno.
Look, I know that Xeno has a certain flair for body horror when it comes to Vera and the powers around Vera. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go into that vein, and I'm going to do an homage. So we're going to have some fun body horror monsters to deal with.
When you say an homage, what were your influences there? What was in your head? What images? What?
Well, I mean, largely because of the way that Vera just enjoys kind of weirding people out with Vera's shape-changing powers, like the whole Mellifera form.
I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
The chip
Between
in
the whole
exoskeleton.
form.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, we're going to have a bunch of these corpses that basically the insects, the swarm that was created, sort of just, they find that they can reside inside for protection and probably for multiplication purposes. So they live inside these bodies and they multiply, and then they, when they get into combat, they can use these bodies until they wear out, and then they burst out as a swarm.
Gross.
That's good.
I was mostly mad because, like, I was trying to see if we killed them really fast if the swarm couldn't come out. I video game mechanics did in my brain way too much, I'm gonna be honest. I made a error in that instance, but when it came to fighting them, we got half health for the first one, and I was like, oh, okay, so the rest of its body will probably just dissipate. So I just tried to do the storm bolts right away to get rid of them, and it wasn't fast enough, and more swarms came, and I hated it.
You got your asses handed to you by some insect swarms?
Mostly Riz. They are very squishy.
I couldn't get the flame strike in because there was no space for it. It's like, and it's indiscriminate on who it hits. That would have like roasted you all.
Because like at least storm bolts, it is discriminatory, so I can pick who it hits. So thank God for that 8th level spell.
And I love the description of that too. That was really evocative. The net of just electric bolts like bursting out between the different. Yeah, that was cool.
Oh.
That one's probably the most taxing on Riz right now to use.
My disgust, the thing that really just creeps me out, is parasites. But you are really giving your. I'm almost to the point where just insects and bugs also creep me out. You've almost got me there, Xeno and Beardy. So just keep at that, and by the end of the season, they'll have the same effect on me.
Nice.
Hooray!
I mean, spiders kind of do that for me, anyways. Like,
Oh, same.
ooh.
Yeah. Oh, spiders weird me out really badly.
I'm really excited because
That's why I put them.
a long time from now, many years during season 5, we're gonna have a nautical theme season,
Someday.
and Beardy's terrified of open waters. Is that
Yeah, thalassophobia,
Yeah.
like open, endless water kind of things, like
so?
the depths,
He
all that.
knows exactly what to throw at us because he's terrified of it. So
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
it's-
scared already.
It's why I put so many spiders in the game when I can.
That's true.
Yeah.
Those fucking weavers season 1.
Oh, they're coming back in a big way.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna be one of those things.
Shit, now I want to ask what was deposited down the throats of the two characters, if it was egg sacs, as I was suspected, or whether that was ever clarified. But anyway, we have questions about episode 47
Oh, I can answer
to talk
that.
about.
No, just answer it.
I
Just
can
answer
answer
it?
that question. Yeah.
Okay.
I know
So-
I've been given this answer before, but tell the
So-
audience.
I thought it was the reagents that were needed and that got left behind, and so that had to be altered as to what was actually needed by Tildy later on. But please go ahead.
So the stuff that so the Weaver would basically trap a person and like go up and sort of spit this stuff down their throat, and it's basically egg sacs,
Okay.
and then also this weird like mutagenic enzyme that causes that person to start to become a host. So yeah, body horror stuff.
Wonderful.
Body horror and spiders.
But
My
neither
favorite.
of those things were what Tildy needed. She really was just screwing with the party.
Oh no! She absolutely just needed you guys to kill those weavers.
Not Tildy, Hildy. Sorry.
Hildy,
God,
yeah.
Shame on me.
No,
Hildegard.
Hildy wanted you guys to kill those reavers as like a.
Who's Tildy?
Tildy is Marcus's. No, that's Telly. Damn it! Who is
I don't know
Tildy?
who. I don't
If
think
any,
there's
if there was,
I thought there was a Tildy somewhere.
I don't think there's a Tildy.
I think it's right below the escape button and right next
Oh
to the one.
shit!
we walked right into that. Was Matilda ever called Tildy by anyone? Yeah, no, Queen Matilda was called Tildy by someone. It's on the
Tilly.
wiki. She's Tilly and she got called Tildy by someone at least once. Otherwise it wouldn't be on the wiki, I promise.
Might have
Well.
been Solaria.
So
Anyway,
yeah, it was Hildegard that wanted you guys to go there and do that as sort of a way for you all to work together as a team and to prove your effectiveness as a group and also to prove your willingness to follow instructions.
I think that made Soul cry, as I recall. But anyway,
It was a traumatic experience.
it was a
dealing
traumatic
with weavers.
experience. No, completely understandably made Soul cry.
A lot of
Ah.
things made Soul cry.
That is true.
Yeah, that's
Ah.
right, Riken. Hildy is a snake lady, and she makes really good sweet tea.
Man, I was really happy getting to draw her around episode 50. I was like,
And-
one day I'm gonna draw this woman, and she will be
I'm so-
beautiful.
I'm so happy. It's
And
it's
she
fun
gives
that
great hugs.
I can like come up with these fun NPCs and know that maybe someday like there will be a visual representation of them that other people can see instead of just living in my head.
Most likely from me.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you should send me references for Jiro.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alright, so, next up in this episode, after we all kind of collectively recovered or got inured to the body horror and the just disgustingness, and Xeno was giggling in the background during all of that, I'm quite sure, Petra, acting as the bridge between the worlds of Eden and Mellifera,
He really tried.
attempts to talk to the heart of the swarm, and I was really impressed by that. I think Skrewy did a really good job with that. I know Skrewy's listening, so hey, shout out to Skrewy. But we'd say this even if you weren't listening. It was a really damn good attempt. It just
He
wasn't.
is not listening at the moment.
Is he not? Okay, we can
He's
slag him
not
off
here.
then. God, that ass. No. I think
if
he
he
did a
ever picks
fantastic
up the
job.
pod,
It wasn't in the cards. It wasn't in the dice. I don't think. But he gave it the best attempt that he could have. I was impressed by it. I don't know how the rest of you were feeling about it.
I mean, Risen felt guilty. Mostly because I got to see everyone die. But after the fact, they felt guilty that they pushed Petra towards doing something like that, because like I am the reason you died. I gave you the confidence to do this, and I was your demise.
Yeah. Congratulations on killing Petravian.
Yep, I feel bad about it. Well, Riz never saw him die the first time, so they took it so casually. And now this time they actually did see him die, and it was their fault, and that doesn't feel so good.
So I want to just remind everybody that none of you have memories of being eaten alive by insects, except for Riz. Riz remembers it very clearly, being ripped apart by tiny little things.
I'm very curious to see what effect that has on Riz, and I found it interesting as a player seeing Riz's reaction to Petravian dying and that clear guilt. Yay! Riz is starting to feel things. That's interesting.
So
I am not okay.
So about Petravian and talking to the swarm.
Yes.
To peel back the curtain just slightly, I want to explain kind of what I wanted to accomplish with that. So I had two kind of possibilities, and that was either Petravian would roll high enough on a wild empathy check to communicate with the swarm or not.
Which
so
he did.
Which he did. He got a nat 20.
It was amazing.
Very nice.
So if he didn't, I was going to explain that the swarm would just burrow into him and just eat him alive at that moment. So that was like a pass or death at that point. Passed. He got a nat 20. So it talked to him, and at that point, so you take your little flow chart. So the next point after that was, okay, if he talks to it, it offers him, or basically kind of demands, that he and the rest of the party push a hole in the wall. Like they, open up the wall for the swarm to get into the rest of the city and finish its task. And I wasn't sure if you guys would do that or not, because you seemed pretty, at least Skrewy seemed pretty open to that last session, to that possibility of being like, hey, let's just let the swarm out. Let's just let the swarm out and see what happens. But I feel like maybe my word choice or my inflection or tone might have made the swarm come off as a little more evil. But it definitely was pretty bad. I mean, as far as things go. So that's, I guess, to be expected.
I don't know if it sounded evil, because just the wording itself, I was just like, yeah, that's killing people. No.
Yeah.
Single-mindedly.
Yeah, for it to say that there are no innocents.
Yeah.
Single-mindedly malevolent, certainly, but...
Yeah. It was there to do a job. It was there for justice.
Now, Xeno, were you listening to all of this? I mean, have you been listening while you've not been engaged as Vera, or...?
Oh, no, I've just been playing Skyrim on the side. Yeah, I've been
Hell yeah.
I've been here the whole time.
Okay, I know that sometimes, like, if a secret chat is going on or something like that, people used to actually physically remove the headphones and walk away, but you were listening in, so what did you make of that whole conversation? And actually, let's check in. What have you made of all of this so far, the last 2.5 episodes, where you've just been sitting back watching your backstory unfold?
Oh, it's been awesome. I've really been enjoying it. I will say there was one part that was supposed to happen with the death that didn't happen, which was Petravian having... some memories from Vera implanted into him just before he died.
You wouldn't have remembered it anyway.
That's true. But the players would.
The players would.
And that's what matters.
Well, they have it now.
But it would have basically gone through Vera's experience watching her father die.
Ah, interesting.
But no, it was fun. It was also very fun watching all y'all squirm against the swarms. So it's like, oh, yeah, this isn't good. I'm glad there's only 2 of these right now.
Oh my god. No, I don't think Riz could have handled a whole section of swarms.
Well, it seems like the best solution then, like if you guys had gone onto the surface beforehand, would have been to run past them. Because, like, y'all couldn't have taken on that many swarms.
That's true.
Well, as we later discovered when we went to recover the pieces for the siphon, which we'll get into a little bit later, there were lots of empty leather sack type
Bodies.
creatures, bodies littering the streets that would have been all of those swarms that we had to pass had we done the objectives in a different order or had we taken the surface route. So thank goodness we took the damn sewers. I'd never been so grateful to have our characters walking through solidified shit.
Yeah, I think
It's mostly just Petravian.
Fair point.
because I had given some direction for what was going, like where different swarms were, which was in open areas. It was like bees and stuff during the day, mosquitoes during the night. In the sewers, it was predominantly cockroaches. And the safe location would be like in where all the buildings were. Like you wouldn't be swarmed there, but you'd have. Originally, I think I had said like the abominations, which were the things that are created when something can't take the royal honey, which we fought in first season. And then Beardy's like, "Hey, I have an idea."
I did assume that what we heard were the abominations. Actually.
That was my assumption as well.
That was what I was counting on.
Good fake out.
Yep.
Fake outs today.
So would you
Paranoid.
you were also pleased with sort of Petravian's attempts to mollify the swarm?
Oh, it was wonderful, and then I really liked when he said, "No, I'm not doing that," and that was just like, okay,
Yeah. Like, all right, fine.
Fuck
Yeah.
off.
Fine then.
just like a Doom
went-
Crusher room.
It went a bit pear-shaped, and Petravian got eaten alive. Riz got to see his bones.
And feel themselves dying slowly.
Feel themselves dying slowly. Cola got to die as well, and then
That would have died eventually.
would have died eventually.
It
So
would have adapted.
let's get the timeline right on this. Riz, or Keni rather, you attempted to have Riz roll back time a certain amount, but it wasn't enough roll to get more than, I don't know, a few minutes, Beardy?
It didn't pass the concentration check.
Didn't pass
Yeah, 'cause I
concentration
was in
check,
too
so it
much
did
pain.
nothing.
Yeah.
But then Riz died,
Mhm.
and we discovered, and Keni, you discovered for the first time, this interesting thing that happens when Riz dies and isn't, I guess, brought back to life immediately. Time reverses.
So I know this is a thing. I think it was originally Xeno's idea a long time ago, to make it so that if we get TPK'd, that there would be a chance that Riz could just accidentally reverse time or something. How did you describe it originally?
Where it was basically like they wake up from a trance. So basically, none of this stuff actually happened, but it's what your mind knows will happen if you do that course of events.
And Beardy made it more traumatic.
That's my job.
So, yay. So that's a really fun thing to know.
Yeah, 'cause I think we came up with that after almost getting our asses handed to us by the frostworm.
The frostworms, yeah.
Oh god, yeah, those were fun. But we got a refrigerator out of that.
We did
so-
get a
true.
refrigerator. We're inventing things. Yeah. It's a dangerous invention, but you know.
But now Riz is saddled with even more trauma that no one else in the party remembers. So Keni, thoughts in that moment about getting to see that kick in, but now all of this additional weight and guilt
Well, it's
on
very
Riz's shoulders.
fascinating to Riz because they're like, oh my god, you guys died. This was an awful thing. And everyone took it really chill. Like, Petravian's like, it's okay. We'll call Vera. And Riz is like, you don't understand. You died.
We didn't. How can we remember it being awful?
I don't know. I just feel like if someone told me they saw me die, I'd be at least like creeped out about it. Like,
Well, I mean, he has died so many times now. It's Petravian, though. I mean,
You call it traumatic. He calls it a Tuesday.
Yeah. It was nice that they all
seriously.
believed you, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I wasn't sure. I don't think Levette wouldn't believe me.
I mean, we have experienced your like time dilation before.
They've at least explained that it's happened before, you
Yeah.
guys.
Mhm.
At
And
least
given
in
how distraught you were.
the Tomb of Marcus. Tomb of the Betrayer. Fuck it.
Yeah.
In there, when Riz went back to stop Vera from eating those pages, that gave us some sweet, sweet backstory.
Well, so yeah, with a slightly more traumatized Riz, we wander around a little bit trying to figure out what we wanted to do next, whether or not we wanted to go for those letters. We find the caved-in staircase, and eventually we kind of give up and say, right, we kind of need to call Vera. And I'm wondering how much of that was characters just stalling for time because they really didn't want to deal with, holy shit, we're going to get in so much trouble for calling in Vera, having done all the things they told us not to.
Yeah.
She told us not to.
I didn't want to deal with Vera, to be honest, because I was afraid she'd be mad at us. And on the second hand, I didn't know how upset she'd be that we were here and being like, let's stop that swarm, boy. Let's go. And the repercussions were there anyways, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be.
Yeah, because Vera wasn't aware that the swarm would even still be there.
No, Vera literally thought everything was gone. She thought everyone already got eaten.
Now, Mike...
Instead, she realized, oh, so my entire hive died for nothing. Great.
So my question is going back to the conversation that Kurla and Vera had back in Palayana, when Vera confided that they had been responsible for all of these deaths in a town and were kind of expressing guilt over that.
Mm-hmm.
That was this situation?
Yes.
Okay, so guilt over having unleashed that swarm in the first place and not even decimated, because that's only 1/10. Obliterated an entire town, or so they thought.
And that feeling of guilt would not have happened if they didn't have an alignment change in Season 1.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, shit!
Which was the reason why Vera was getting sick like every night and having terrible nightmares, was because she was remembering what she did from a different context.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa! Oh my god,
just
you just
blown
blew
Kenny's
my
mind.
It's been years!
Yep.
You think so intricately about all this stuff. That's fascinating. That's so cool, Xeno. I'm sorry, I'm geeking out because I'm like, Vera's my favorite character of all time. Like, it's weird to be in a show and being like, this is my favorite character. So, like, I don't know. Like, every time she does things, I'm like, well, that was bad, but gosh, that Vera.
And it also connects with what was discussed later in Protus about Vera having used power not for the sake of Mellifera, but for their own sake.
Mm-hmm.
I think was the gist of that conversation. Again, this being that moment when they lashed out.
Yeah, 'cause once again, she literally basically took the power that was for her and all the hive and used it for basically revenge. Because it was something that she felt she was promised when she's a child, and has been basically mooing over her entire life, just waiting for a chance to basically get rid of these parasites that she knew was basically the scourge on the earth.
All these threads have woven together now.
How old was Vera when her father died?
She was like 8 or 9.
That kid fucked.
And she was 1 when they were exiled from...
Yep, sometime in the first year. So,
okay.
So in human years, she would have been about like 6.
Okay. But despite all of that, so I'm assuming, the next thing we're going to talk about is Vera talking to the heart of the swarm, which would not have happened, I guess, without that alignment change, or rather it wouldn't have happened the way it went. Let's talk about that moment. Vera connecting with the swarm, and walk me through that, Xeno.
Well, I do know that there's a few things I was wondering what would happen with if Vera went in here, and I had told Beardy this like quite a while ago while we were planning all this out, that if eventually Vera decided to send the swarm over to the other side, that I would fully change my alignment to chaotic evil instead, because that would be the turning point for both Vera and the hive.
Damn.
So when I said, or more of, with Vera coming to the actual town was basically determining what path the hive would take from that point on.
A
Oh
lot
my
hinged on this
God.
one conversation.
Yeah. A bunch did.
Holy
Like,
bejesus.
that moment of Vera talking to her old swarm was pretty much like the emotional climax of the character, at least from my standpoint. Like that was the point where Vera determined her future as a character, and that's why Mellifera immediately talked to her after the fact.
And
I'm
you
so proud of you.
and you didn't know going into that conversation, Xeno, which way did you have an inkling as to which way it might go? Did you have a desire of which way it might go, or were you completely just in that moment and willing to go where it took you?
I mean, I definitely wanted Vera to take the hive in a better place, but I didn't know where it was going to go, whether or not whether or not Vera would cave to it or not. I think it would have been a harder decision if people weren't there.
Yeah. Yelling at you.
Be like, hey, do better.
Riz was yelling a little bit. I think they were very anxious from watching people die, so they're like, fuck it, no, you're doing this now.
And also, it's not that Vera has completely forgiven these people. It's that she has really said, there are things that are far more important than trying to get revenge on these people. The hive and my family are more important than dealing with this.
Yeah. But Mellifera had gone through so many failed hives up to that point. And this was the first time that one of Mellifera's high priests made that choice. You know, took the high road, took the good route, and ultimately it's why the hives have never survived up to this point, because something would have happened and the hives would become angry or bent on revenge, or they'd become extremist, and this was the first time that cooler heads have prevailed. And it's kind of a big deal for that whole religion.
Holy shit.
Which
I'm so happy.
I will say I have been enjoying, like everyone being like, oh, we have to. Actually, I think it's particularly Levette saying, oh, we need to take Vera into consideration, like care about their feelings. It's like, I don't know, Vera's kind of a biological terrorist, so I don't think that matters as much.
Yeah.
That's true.
I guess that raises the question: is now that the rest of the party knows Vera's history, at least to this degree, how do you think that's going to change the way you look at Vera now that you know that she's responsible for the death of thousands of people?
Innocent people.
So, I've got a thought on this. So Riz very much so is of the opinion that they've also done shitty things. So not being able to forgive someone, especially if they were a child while doing something like that, because of course Riz has a soft spot for kids, that just wouldn't make sense for their character at all, that they couldn't try to understand Vera.
Vera wasn't a child, though.
Teenager?
To Riz, I guess they would have been.
No.
If it was 6 years ago, she would have been
22,
22, yeah.
thereabout. Somewhere in that range, probably.
She's a youngin' for a half-elf, though. Because that would still make them a teenager in half-elf years.
About 18.
Yeah.
So an adult. I mean, by any legal
Practically
metric.
an adult.
Well, no, Soul would have been like human equivalent, probably 16.
No, they would have been 18 because they were in their 80s. Because 100 would have been 20.
Okay.
In terms of
I think
how
100's 18, but okay.
Nah, it's easier to do math the other way. It's
Oh,
way
you're gonna
easier to do math if I'm like 20s at 100. Canon.
In terms of how Curler will respond, I think they're going to try to stick to what they said in Palayana, which was that we've all done evil shit, but if you're trying to do better, that's what counts more. They're going to be struggling to balance that against the high body count. So we'll see where that takes us.
Soul would have had a way different reaction, though.
Yeah.
They would have been really sad, I think. I think they would attempt to try to understand Vera, but in the end just be like, you hurt people and you need to fix it.
Yeah, it's very much a question of what Vera's going to do now. They seem quite intent on leaving this behind as much as possible, rather than... maybe now they feel they have done enough to fix what was done, having dispersed the entire swarm, but I will be interested to see if the Hive... if any activities in the future are geared towards helping this city out, or whether they are going to dust their hands. She is going to sort of
I'm not gonna
wash
lie,
her hands of the entire thing.
don't think they really want the Hive's help.
Well, no, there's the problem.
Got this inkling suspicion.
Yes, it's going to take a little bit of time for that religion to catch on in the Pentress Estates, I think. Maybe a few thousand years. Anyway.
Maybe not that village specifically. It might have gotten traumatized a little too harshly.
I think
Maybe try
cultural
somewhere else.
memory.
Somewhere
Try
else might be better. The centaurs!
They didn't catch on that much in Parthenia either, because they kept on arresting Vera.
Yeah.
Burgos was fine.
Well, we had that lovely moment. We had Mellifera being proud of Vera.
I was
and
proud too.
It was a very
So was
sweet
I.
moment.
Honestly, it was really good.
Lovely bits of roleplay. And the swarm begins to disperse. It becomes safe enough for the party to enter the streets. And I beg your pardon. No, of course not. We didn't enter the streets yet. We found our way to a different staircase with a huge dragon outside that may or may not have traumatized Vera, but that's a different thing. And we
Back when I
find
was
the
less than 1 year old.
Before I
Yeah.
was making memories.
It's
yeah.
It just became kind of this
it imprinted.
imprint memory and the deepest
you
levels of
passed it once
subconsciousness.
as a baby and we're like,
I-
that's
Ah!
really
Yeah,
scary.
they
Started crying. Yeah.
I passed it once as they were throwing me out the window.
There you go.
And you blamed the dragon. No. Okay, so we find the letters, or someone finds the letters. I'm not sure who, but
Technically, Livette does.
okay.
She grabs
Found
the
it,
box.
and then Riz opened it with a knock.
Yes,
Yeah.
we find the box of letters. We go in search of the energy siphon, and as Livette is looking for the energy siphon and deciphering all of that, assessing it, Riz opens up the box of letters
Yep, and I
very
read
very
through all of
skillfully,
them.
very carefully, and read through all of them. Didn't find the necklace though, but read through all of them.
Skimmed through.
Skimmed through all of them.
Okay.
Was distracted by the fact that they'd got Petravian killed. Kidding.
Sure.
Um,
they were mostly curious about Taily. They didn't know if this person was a good person, and since Vera seemed to have such a huge grudge against them, they're like, oh, there must be some evidence in here that proves that she is a bad person. Let's read these.
Was that
Shit.
the only reason?
Yes.
That was the sole reason for Riz looking through them.
No, that was the reason.
Yeah, the soul isn't involved in this.
The single solitary reason for Riz looking through them.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. I would have assumed that Riz had other motives, even if that was the primary one.
They respect Vera to a really high degree.
Okay.
Which just shows that they weren't intending to use this against Vera or anything, or to like make Vera reconsider their birth parent. But in any sense, that is a lot of emojis going on. In any sense, it was to see if it was even worth giving this box to, like what records were in here. They wanted to know. That's it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
What did you
Good for-
think?
I mean,
Because I'm
Curla.
curious now.
Kurla having had some of their secrets sold off to Cloak.
No, I had no intention of selling that off to Cloak, actually.
Interesting. I mean, I think that shows just interesting changes in
I
Riz.
didn't need anything.
Also, if
that's the crux of it.
I mean, it's true.
if Risen had taken like the information that Vera had like killed all these people and given it to Cloak, since there's a Temple of Cloak, I'm pretty sure Cloak would have just been like, "Yeah, I fucking know."
Tell me something I didn't.
We have a whole, we have a quarter of a city that knows that.
I mean, I guess technically I still probably could use that information if I really needed something, but I don't. But again, Riz kind of has nighttime conversations with a lot of gods. It's not something that we really show because that would just take a lot of fucking unnecessary time. But they go through rituals almost every night to pray to the gods. And I'm sure they just have conversations. Maybe not directly back at them sometimes, but they do still give worship in ways. It's just not a thing that I thought necessary to ever show every night, because that would just be a lot.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, actually, I do want to mention that I loved the way that the difference between the very careful opening of that box of letters by Riz and the making sure that they noted the way the letters were all tied together and making sure the lock went back on, and then just Vera's rather destructive
you, Xeno.
strength check, just ripping the damn thing open. That was delicious.
Well.
It's a very good check.
Had some very good checks when it didn't matter.
The dice were actually really
Very nice
favoring
to you
everyone
last night.
last night.
That's true. Also got some
Good
good
time.
intimidate checks in.
That's
That's
true.
nice.
That was really cool seeing that mask come out finally.
Mhm.
And now
But
we all know about it.
you'll
Yeah,
probably
we
see
didn't
it.
mention that, did we? The
The
Vera
mask
just-
to scare off the bodies. Ugh.
After all the trouble we had fighting them and all the worries about having to fight them a second time after time reversed, that was pretty fucking badass. So, nicely done.
It was very cool. It was just like one of those, the hero finally shows off their real power.
And then cries.
Yeah, don't we all, though?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't a true hero cry?
They should. But we were able to get the parts of the soul sucky device with a ruby as a thingy.
Yeah. Also, so that's a huge.
Ba-da-da-da.
That's a huge device.
Yep, huge size
God
category.
damn.
It's gonna work.
So, why a ruby? I'm just curious.
Sounded neat.
Fair enough.
Well, look
I
pretty.
like rubies.
Polished ruby as a lens sounds fun. That's all.
Fair enough. But yeah, we got it. And Graham rolled really high on the knowledge engineering. In fact, wasn't that a nat 20 to bring it to
Nat
like
20.
45? 45, 46,
Something like
somewhere
that,
around
yeah.
there?
Yeah, everyone else
Yeah.
got nat 20s last night.
So it was just sort of like completely understanding it and complete certainty that it could be adapted for
Mm-hmm.
what was it, 1/2 of the Deadlands?
Yeah, for half of the problem, yeah.
Half
for
of
the,
the problem.
Protean mega spell half.
That's huge progress. So we've
Oh,
had
yeah.
not just huge progress for Vera, but huge progress for the overarching, world-ending circumstances.
Mhm.
Go us!
Yeah, now you just have to go to, Kintao and figure out the other half of the problem.
Woo!
Ooh,
Ah,
that'll
but
be fun.
like conquering heroes, or at least successful ones, we kind of go back and forth a little bit on whether or not Vera should stick around or whether they run the risk of getting themselves captured or worse. They take off as a dragonfly, which was nice. We wander back and we have a word with the nobles to collect our winnings, our
Yeah.
earnings.
And no repercussions were made.
I was convinced we were going to walk out into just like a line of cops, and I guess we kind of did the whole arrested by secret police type things in protest, but I still thought we were either going to go through the door and get swarmed by cops, or we were going to go and they were going to be waiting for us somewhere in the ballroom, or that we were going to get led to a room. And, you know, as you faked us out with, I thought we were going to get stuck in a room, or the room was going to open, all the guards would be there, like Empire Strikes Back style, opening up, and suddenly Vader's there with all the stormtroopers, that whole thing. But no, you faked us out. Well done.
Well, when we were told to go into the vault, I was trying to be a little subtle about it, but I was like, I want to make sure that we have one person out here just in case anything happens. So that's why I insisted Petravian stand out there, so that he could break that person's hand if he tried to, like, seal the door on us. It was
Beardy?
a precaution.
I think you all are incredibly paranoid.
Baby cakes. Who do you think made us paranoid?
Paizo?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Whenever we've done, like, pre-made modules, that shit gets crazy, yo. And it's way meaner than it needs to be. We got way more sussy about, like, doors and shit than we ever were beforehand.
Yeah.
So, question for you, Beardy. The clerk who overheard, or rather, Levette dropping Vera's name in front of the clerk and the check to see if clerk overheard or not, did the clerk fail that check or succeed that check?
I will not answer that just yet.
Okay, fair enough.
You want the paranoia to continue?
You bitch.
Bastard.
That is still an active concern.
Okay, fair enough. Shit, we're
It
not out of the
wasn't
woods
for
yet.
me until now.
That'll be the epilogue, you know, we'll go through this whole campaign, we'll defeat Marcus, and then it'll be like ending credits, and then post-credits scene, shit, we're suddenly all arrested by Pentress nobles.
Yeah, you think I'm still gonna be here by then?
Yeah, I don't know.
Fair-
At that
fair
point, it's a
point.
good luck, Pinterest nobles. These guys are like level 20.
Yeah,
They're not gonna say. They're not gonna answer anybody.
it's true. The law doesn't matter to us.
The law, that's for people who can't, well, disintegrate and destruction and
Exactly.
regenerate the dead and all of that.
And storm
But-
bolts and all that.
At least for now, we haven't run afoul of them, and we got paid,
Mhm.
which was nice.
True.
100,000 gold apiece,
Yeah.
plus 25,000 bonus, or we give 100,000 to Vera, which I think is probably fair.
I've already divvied the money, so I got 100,000.
There we go. All right, it's fair. You did kind of
And,
disperse the swarm and save the
Unless
day,
you'd
and-
like to have all my money for more diamond dust.
Yes, yes, I would.
And then we got those extra magical items because we did so good on dispersing the swarm. Was that always planned, Beardy? About, like, giving an extra item if we had properly done it with Vera?
No, I gave you that as a bonus in the moment because of how well it was handled.
Oh,
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank
Be-
you, Deep
Alright,
Daddy.
Because literally
Because, like,
everything
you-
left.
Yeah, you guys solved it in a way that I didn't expect you to, so I was happy with y'all. I wanted to give you a little bit of extra bonus.
Yay.
Thanks, Daddy.
Hmm.
I
So
will
have
say
people-
I'm excited for giving Petravian his item because I kind of knew what I was gonna do pretty soon, so I'm excited to do that next session.
What was the upper limit on that? 12,500 or 1,500? I
I
can't
think it was
now
15
recall. Gold pieces for the
items.
The item?
Yeah.
15,000. Yeah.
15,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyone else? Are we gonna wait to reveal what we might be wanting?
Oh, I'm waiting.
Okay.
I've only received one so far from all of you.
I'm looking forward to getting all that extra diamond dust.
Do it. I mean, if you want to get 15,000 gold of diamond dust, that's
I don't.
fine.
I don't. I want something cooler than that.
To be realistic, I'm for Riz. I'm probably. Oh, did we talk about why we didn't use the bug bomb? Okay, I'm gonna finish my thought real quick, and we can go to that.
Finish
I'm
the thought.
probably gonna get Riz a ring because casters armor and stuff doesn't really do anything for them, so rings are a little more helpful. So I'm probably gonna get a ring. But bug bomb, why we didn't end up using it? In truthfulness, I was actually very close by the end of Vera communicating with the swarm to setting it off because I wasn't sure if she was going to let it go down. I wasn't sure if she was going to forgive, so I was like ready to say I set up the bug bomb.
So it was going to be your kind of your contingency plan. So if Vera decided to take the evil route, Riz would have shut that shit down.
Yeah.
Wait,
Nice.
so you're saying if Vera had sent them out, or if Vera
Well,
just it didn't
if you
work?
failed in any way.
Interesting.
Even
you-
if Vera decided to agree with the swarm, would that have been failure as well?
Yes.
So would Riz have been willing to kill Vera with the bug bomb?
No, they probably would have dimension doored out with Vera.
Okay.
They would have like tackled her and dimension doored her out.
In that 30-second window, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
30 seconds is a lot of time for action.
So you'd have set the bomb off, grabbed Vera, dimension door,
Yeah.
and then
Maybe hold
the rest,
monster or
and
something.
then the rest of the party would have had to run.
Well,
Right.
that
Out of
has
there.
teleport, so
That's true. They would have had, and 30 seconds is plenty of time.
Oh,
They would-
yeah.
They would have been able to teleport out of there.
Thanks very
That's
much.
a reasonable answer.
So long as the insects don't consume all of them in that 30 seconds.
yeah.
Thanks for that. Yeah. Petravian Owl will just book it. Petravian can move so fast, obviously, in his full plate armor.
Well, a lot of times, had we not called on Vera and tried again a different way, I would have just set up the bug bomb and then dimension doored Petravian out because he is slower.
Mhm.
I actually am quite surprised y'all didn't use the bug bomb.
Thanks.
But y'all were very concerned about what Vera would think about killing the swarm.
Yeah. I didn't know what you would do. You are a wild card.
Hell yeah.
That coming from the player of Riz is amazing to me.
Me?
I mean, I consider Riz a wild card.
Really?
A little bit.
Oh,
They're
cool.
They're unpredictable.
Yeah.
Their
Power.
unpredictability is predictable in certain ways. It's weird. But anyway, the bug
I can
bomb.
see
You
that.
wouldn't have used that. Oh,
I
you would
didn't-
have used that. I beg your
I
pardon.
would have had a certain amount of restrictions been met.
I'm wondering if I guess Petravian wouldn't be able to stop you, like, in the moment. But if you like tried to reason with him, he'd probably be like, No, I got this.
I would have charmed him.
And then
It's interesting because I'm wondering what Curler would have done in that moment, considering that they would have had something that could have disabled the bug bomb if they needed to.
Are you gonna risk
Awesome.
that so that all the people die?
No, but it depends. Well,
Also, realize Riz casting Charm on Petravian does give Petravian a chance to save that. So making Skrewy make a die roll, chances are he's going to roll a 20.
Not if I use all the rest of my rune points to up that DC.
oh my
If you had any left.
I have all the rune points.
Oh, the
left.
runes.
The
Yeah,
fate
adaptive
points were
D-
gone.
okay. Sorry.
Contingencies. I was like, all right, I have this left. I can put all my power into this at least.
So it was interesting when we received all of the money. I think Curler was asking about healing, and they kind of wanted some assurance that the nobles weren't just going to leave all of the sick people and they weren't going to take down the wall. But Riz mentioned wanting to use some of this money, or maybe even all of this money. We'll find out. They at least wanted to have a word with the cleric of Shamish, who is going to be responsible for the healing that goes on now that the temple, or the temples to the deities on the eastern side of the city have now been opened back up. Keni, thoughts on that at all?
Well, Shamish is an expensive god.
Mm-hmm.
Healthcare ain't cheap there.
Don't you have to pay like 10 gold pieces just to get into the building? I'm vaguely remembering from season 1 something. a
It
gold
depends
piece.
on how much money you have, but it's meant to be kind of a token gesture to pay an admission fee.
Hmm.
So it doesn't have to be 10 gold, but if you're rich enough, then it can be 10 gold.
it's all
Got
about
it.
the transaction itself.
It's about the transaction, yeah. It's not about the amount. It's about paying because that is a show of your faith.
So Riz pretty much wants to pay to give all these people free healthcare. Like,
Mhm.
they probably will still end up putting money in when they enter because they do have that 5 gold, like, payment plan that they kind of have based on working here, but Riz wants to make sure the other part is just secure and easy for them. It's definitely not the guilt from killing people or anything.
I was just going to ask
Why
how
would
much
that
of that is
happen?
how much of that is motivated by guilt over those
Um,
15 deaths. But
A
Maybe
lot
we'll
of
find
it.
that out in character.
At the same time, yeah, it's mostly guilt.
It's all about that guilt money.
Yeah.
But even
So-
that is an interesting evolution of Riz's character. You were going to say, Beardy?
Just a slight tangent about Shamish
Please.
that I was thinking about. I don't know how deep we want to get into this, but
Please.
Go for it. We got time.
so part of the idea behind the admissions payment and all of the sort of the way that Shamish works is kind of inspired by the culture on Ferenginar in Star Trek, where like if you go into someone's house, you're expected to pay admission. Like everyone has a little box at the front of the home, and if a guest comes in, you're expected to put a coin or like some amount of money there, just as like this is for the inconvenience / for your hospitality. I am expected to pay.
Ayo, why don't we do that? Money,
like a
please.
guest in your home. So if you go to anyone's house, you're expected to pay to walk in the door. If you go to a public building, if you want to use something like an elevator, you're expected to pay an additional surcharge. Like everything is microtransactions.
So we're going to get to the Temple of Shamish, and it won't be that they want a gold piece, it's that they're going to want one strip of gold plus latinum.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, maybe so.
Is the Church of Seamus free to play, and you just have to buy the tiers to get better buffs?
It
It's
is
pay to
free
win.
It is free to play, but pay to win. Yes.
God, outstanding.
Yeah.
Anyways, I wanted to make sure that was a little bit better for people who were worse off.
I mean, they are going to have to take down that wall, which is literally covered in a horrific poison.
Yeah.
I will be curious to see if any of us have... Well, I will be curious to see what our involvement is in the city, or whether we just book it after we're done, but I will be curious just because Graham mentioned helping to take down the wall. I think we probably, between us, have something that would help with that chemical, maybe, and then we can do... I don't know. We'll see what happens in the next episode, but...
I can disintegrate a portion of the wall. That's all I got.
Pretty good. If it disintegrates the poison as well, that's...
Unless it turns it into a vapor that
Yes.
goes into the air.
Beardy
What
just
the
grinning
actual
there.
fuck?
I'm just saying, it's not a very well-made substance, so you don't
I
know
agree.
exactly what's going to happen.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
But
I need a few years of study.
at the end of being able to get all of our reward after it being counted out, we went and found Taeli. And Cecily brought her outside for a fortune to meet her daughter.
It was so sus.
It was really sus.
Yeah.
Like,
She
she was
was-
going to get stabbed.
She was freaking the fuck out, especially when Archie gets summoned at it for no reason.
Yeah.
That was so
I wasn't
sort
sure
of
about
like
that part.
It's just like, oh, I'm gonna die
I'm
here,
gonna
aren't I?
die.
after just getting my letters back, I'm gonna die.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I'm being taken prisoner for ransom.
Nope,
Great.
not at all, because my Vardo's still back in the village. I have to go back there for it. So, of course, I tried doing magic tricks to distract her. As we
Is
were
this your
waiting.
card?
Yeah, not
This
like
your
that.
Oh.
Actual magic.
I know the runes on the
Well, not just that. They actually used, like, fucking mage hand and mending to be like, oh, yeah. Look, magic glyphs. God symbols.
Ooh, impressive.
In waiting for Vera to come. Which, I'm sorry, Xeno, if you weren't prepared for that, but too fucking bad.
Sorry to have 2 weeks.
You have,
Prepare for
it's
it.
true, you do have 2 weeks. We will not be playing next week, unfortunately. But you'll have plenty of time to mentally process how you're going to react to seeing your birth parent for the first time.
There's so many ways that you can kill someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so
You
many
just-
ways I can hold monster.
There, and only like a 5% chance that it'll work.
Based on our running with these spell, yes.
With your
about 5%.
rolls?
Yeah, I thought that ending it on that note of the two of them locking eyes for the first time
It was really good.
was a good moment. So we'll see how they actually react to each other.
Also,
and
Vera's
see
never
if-
seen Telly.
Yeah, and really probably has no idea who this person is.
No. Like
So
they
we'll
can
see.
they can tell that they're Vienne, and by context clues they could probably guess that it's y'all trying to fuck with them.
Which is exactly what Vera said that they didn't want to have happen.
Yes.
So,
Right. But
Xeno, did you want this to happen as a player? Were you like ambivalent? Did you want this to
Oh,
happen, or
I
did you
think
genuinely want to move past this?
Oh, I think it's wonderful because I think it's exceedingly fun to see how Telly will react to so many things. Like, first of all,
The murderer.
the fact finding out that her daughter basically killed everyone she knew, but also
Yeah.
finding out that is because Vera thinks that she had her father killed,
Mhm.
and her finding out that Cormac is dead to begin with.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
doesn't know.
she suspects that Cormac is dead.
And there's so much we can do with that. Like, now she'll know if she didn't do it that, oh hey, someone in my like family or someone in the Pentress estate literally had the person I loved murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Making a change in a really chaotic way. Woo!
Yeah, I think a lot of really cool stuff that can come from this.
So a parent figure's going to get screamed at by one of the angry characters.
Maybe we'll see.
It's better than using
That'll
dominate person.
never happen. That'll never happen in Check Please.
That never happens in Check, please.
No.
No. I mean, I did very significantly while drawing these characters, and even when Cammy was described, I think it's very interesting that all the high elves / used to be a high elf technically before that which hungers corrupted all these high elves and made them into dark elves. I find it very, very interesting that they all have about the same air to them, almost. I wanted
The
to...
same feeling of superiority?
Yeah, a little bit. I think Taili's probably the least amount. She seems pretty chill, but I wanted her image to kind of invoke a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how I was directed. Give a smirky face.
So it sounds like there is quite a lot of different ways that this could go, and perhaps we will be spending even more time in the Pentress Estates trying to exact justice against the true murderer. Or perhaps we'll leave it alone entirely. Perhaps that will be the basis of some future campaign. Who knows? Lots of places this could go, but exciting.
Good times.
Truth.
It's always nice when things... some things have been wrapped up, but certainly not with a bow. Several years' worth of character development and backstory getting woven together in all these revelations about Vera, but now there are even new avenues to explore with their character and their relationship, so that's fun. Well done, everyone, on that.
Yes. Well done to us. Especially me.
Who has the highest innocent kill count? Other than Vera, I guess.
Yeah,
Vera's still at the top of that list.
I don't know. Riz has been alive for a long time. No? Okay.
No.
You're a murderer.
Do I need-
Riz is still...
Congratulations. You win the
I
most
win!
murdered.
How much XP do I get?
Nothing.
Do I need to,
Enough.
like, put a page on the wiki that, like, ranks the body count for each character? I
No.
kind of want to do that now, actually. Beardy, can you help me with that?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Can
You were
also,
asking
Kinda
what
fun.
page needs the most work on the wiki? That one, the body count page.
Can you also put assist on there because of Petravian, I have mostly assists.
That's true. He did always steal your kills.
It's always like, I'm about to get him. Up! Knocks his head off with a hammer.
So I'm gonna just get the third kill this round. I'll just take care of this one too.
Oh no! Chisel will get that one.
Ah.
But with all that, that pretty much covers the whole episode. So, thank you all so much for joining us on Checkpoint. I had a lot of fun. I miss our 2 members, but I'm sure they will be vocal with us after the fact about their thoughts on things.
I'm
Fun
sure they're
times.
in a better place.
Shout out to Skrewy and Graham, Petravian, and Levette.
And again, we will not be here next weekend, but we will be here back again the weekend after. And we hope that you roll with us then. Until next time, everyone. Bye!
Bye.
Roll for initiative.